And I listened to Rift in a completely pitch black bathroom. I drew a bath, put on the album, completely sober, 100%, dark room, and it was incredible, the experience I had listening to the riff from start to finish. And from that point on, Riff just changed my life. And then I was like, Phish, you know, and that's a deep, deep hole to go down.
How long is that album? Because their songs are long, so you must have been a wrinkly bastard.
Motivation, please come to me.
Hi everybody, welcome to Fretboard TV. I'm here with Sickert Hollow. They're playing here tonight. By the time this comes out, the show will already be over.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut some clips in there and make sure that everything flows real nice.
Cool.
You guys are out of Nashville, Tennessee, right?
Yeah, totally. Man.
That's awesome. Well, we really appreciate you coming up here.
Definitely.
I want to take some time to introduce the band.
Cool.
So I'm here with Alex. I'm here with Will.
Yep.
Alex, go into it, man.
Cool. So I'm Alex King. I play guitar and I sing in the band. We both write a lot of the music, and we do some joint stuff, but the band kind of started out with I was writing some acoustic, folky type stuff, and he wasn't really playing the mandolin. He played guitar, and he wanted to jam, so one thing led to another, and we kind of landed on this bluegrass, jamgrass genre. We've started out with songs of mine and songs of his, so I do write a lot of the music, he does as well, but as we've developed, the past couple of years, we've kind of started collaborating our efforts, so it's more of a group effort in the writing, then rather than us bringing our own songs and kind of giving us original music to perform. So
what year did you guys form the band?
2018.
2 years ago, yeah. Okay. 2 years ago was in July, mid-July, I think was our first show, and that was in 2018.
I think May is when we started the band officially.
Totally.
So had you been in other bands prior?
I moved to Nashville in 2013, and we both went to Belmont University.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we met.
Totally.
But I moved to Nashville with the intent to want to be a musician, so I played songwriter rounds, played in grunge bands, played bass guitar in bands, played electric guitar. And I think I can speak for both of us and say the bluegrass is not something that we expected to be doing.
No, not at all. It's been pretty crazy, actually. Yeah, he was the first dude I met when to make a long story short, I ended up in Nashville, not intending on going to school at Belmont, not intending on playing music. Really didn't play much guitar at the time. I was kind of trying to reintroduce it into my life. I gave it up for a while, and I met him in writing class, and he ended up pestering me to jam with him for so long, and we jammed on electric guitars for the first time, and it went what I thought did not go well. I'm like, I'm terrible at this. This is discouraging. I don't think I'm gonna pursue this. And next thing you know, here we are playing bluegrass acoustic music in a band. So we went from electric to acoustic, and it's working out. We're finding our groove. So.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I think it's really cool to see young guys getting into bluegrass.
Totally.
And kind of bringing it back with a twist.
Totally.
So I felt like it's one of those last remaining genres that doesn't have the young push, and so it's to be able to see new bands, Billy Strings, and things like that.
Sure. He's the forefront of it.
Right.
But
totally.
What's cool about us getting into the bluegrass, I think, as not growing up on it, is we're doing our own spin with it, but coming in as these newbies, I want to respect the traditional. I want to study bluegrass as opposed to just Billy Strings is ripping. I want to do that. It's no, I'm studying the people who started the genre of bluegrass. And although we're not necessarily doing that, the tradition, we can play traditional style tunes, but it's not necessarily our forte.
Yeah.
It is important, I think, for you to go back and find the roots and who the dudes who invented this style of music. So it's been interesting going backwards in that regard, but also moving forwards in a progressive regard. This is more than bluegrass, It's improvisational, the jams, everything is so deep now with what he's doing. I think that's inspiring for us, but it's also opening up all these potential fans for us. He's making it easy, this style of music easily accessible, I feel like.
Who are some of your influences? I mean, whether they're bluegrass or not, touch on who you grew up listening to.
Why don't you start that one?
Inspired you, but also who within the genre is an influence as well.
What got me started playing music, me particularly, is different than what inspired me to play bluegrass. I heard Kiss on Tony Hawk's Underground when I was a kid. And when you beat the game, it came with a music video that said it was the God of Thunder song. And I saw that, and that made me want to play the guitar. time flies by, rock and roll. Come to find 80s hair metal, and that's like stuff I really like find a home with. Motley Crue is my favorite band for sure. And then I got into the Grateful Dead. I met Alex around that same time that I started getting into the Grateful Dead, and then Alex showed me Phish, and Phish became a big influence to me as well.
About 5 years ago, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
About 5 years ago is whenever we first met.
Did Phish blow your mind hearing them on record, or did you have to see them live in order to really grasp
Phish was
it?
interesting to me, man, because at Belmont, I was already doing jam music on my own. I didn't really listen to it, but I was doing it. So Phish was like, holy shit, like this is the things that I thought that I was just figuring out. And so Phish was the pinnacle of that, and it was a cool way to discover them. But when Bluegrass came around, Jeff Austin, man, is the number one influence to me.
So who have you guys shared a stage with, in your 2 years that you've been running? Obviously this year you probably had things planned that are scheduled for the summer that you would have attended, and probably had some great opportunities, but
yeah, there was a bunch of fun things that were scheduled. Not necessarily with like larger bands. There were some potential festivals. Bluegrass in the Bottoms was one, which is in Kansas City, and I'd say that was the first festival lineup we got on, and that was last year was when we were like so stoked to get on. It's like a year into the band, we're like, holy crap, this is amazing. With Jeff Austin Band, Railroad Earth, Trampled by Turtles, Infamous String Dusters, Keller, Grateful Grass, I'm like, we worship these people.
Yeah.
And in the sense of like us kind of just delving into this genre and it, people grasping it enough for what we're putting down to get the invite to this festival, which was, I did not feel like we were worthy, and we played a really good show, and we're not the same band anymore. We were a 6-piece band back then, and it was monumental, and just to have our name on the lineup next to those people, I'm like texting all my friends, look at this, we're doing it, man. So it was really exciting. But Rumpke, we've been doing stuff with Rumpke Mountain Boys. Okay. So we were on a festival, Birds of a Feather, and they invited us out, but that was kind of our in to the festival. And we played shows with Ben and Wolfie before, and we're actually going to be a part of a festival coming up, like a private event with the Rumpke Mountain Boys. So it's going well, though.
That's awesome. So that kind of answered my next question, which was, what was that moment that made you realize that the needle was moving in the right direction for you? And it sounds like it was right off the bat.
There's been a lot of those,
It was right off the bat, man.
There's been a lot of those. Yeah, our first gig, I'll go back to the Phish thing. So our first show was, we opened for Phish. It was a Phish stream, and we were the opening live band for the Phish stream. And I'm like, this is sick. It's my favorite band at the time. I'm a huge Deadhead, Phish head, but so after our first show, there was over 100 people out there.
Hell yeah.
We had 3 hours of music. After we probably started the band, and a month later we had our first show, or maybe a month and a half. Yeah. We had 3 hours of music prepared for the show somehow. Man. We pulled it together, and then after that, I had some friends. This girl, I can't remember who it was, and she came up to me and she goes, whenever you guys need an agent, hit me up. And I'm like, this is our first show. That's kind of crazy to have somebody tell you that. So off the get-go, it's like, well, maybe we should pursue this, because I was reluctant to even get on the stage. I'm like, we're not good, I'm not good, I don't have anything to offer. And then, walk the plank, your friends kick you off, and you learn how to swim. So it was kind of one of those experiences, and we've been continuously reminded of that throughout.
So Will already kind of talked about it. What did you grow up listening to, Alex? And how did you guys pick up instruments in the first place?
Throughout my life, whenever I first got into music, I got obsessed with what I was listening to. And I was talking about this on the ride up. I embodied it. Green Day, first band. Yeah. I named my rat I had a pet rat when I was in 5th grade. I named it after Billy Joe's wife. I dressed up as Billy Joe for Halloween. I had a Green Day shirt for every single day of the week. Stud belt, Jack Skellington socks. This is 5th grade, and I'm in the suburbs of Birmingham, Alabama. Sure. So I'm the gothic kid, So that moved into emo music, and I from this not cookie cutter family, but my family, I love them to death. Great parents. I wanted the pain. I'm like, I want to be troubled, and I wasn't. So it never really worked out to my favor. But I got really into the emo and screamo music, and then from there went into rap music in high school. I skateboarded a lot, so it was a melting pot of all that. But secretly, I would listen to acoustic and indie music in my car driving home from the skate park, and that's how I learned how to sing. So the Avett Brothers, actually Matt Costa was being played on this stereo earlier whenever we got here, and I hadn't heard the song in 7 years, so I'm hoping that's some good juju on this place. So then I found my way to, through all the metal, through the acoustic stuff like that, and then in college I found jam bands, of course. I'm partying. My friend gives me a thumb drive. It's a Phish thumb drive. He goes, listen to all of this. It's all live stuff. Didn't really get it. I'm 18 years old, and the Phish started to click a little bit, but it really clicked out. To go back to what you asked him earlier, was it studio or live? It was studio Phish that got me, and it was Rift. And I listened to Rift in a completely pitch black bathroom. I drew a bath, put on the album, completely sober, 100%, dark room, and it was incredible, the experience I had listening to the riff from start to finish. And from that point on, riff just changed my life. And then I was like, Phish, and that's a deep, deep hole to go down.
How long is that album? Because their songs are long, so you must have been a wrinkly bastard by the time you were out.
I think it's like 53 to 56 minutes, something like that. I'm making that up, yeah. I know the album was released in 1993, February 93. I don't know the duration of the whole thing, but yes, I laid in the tub the whole duration and was
teleported and thrown around in a psychedelic. It was a psychedelic experience.
Speak on the influences a little bit more. Talking about jam bands like The Dead and Phish, and then he talks about Green Day.
Yep.
We're both into punk and metal a good bit.
Totally.
Bluegrass is awesome because it's kind of like the bridge between all those things, between jam music and I like to think punk rock and metal.
Totally.
If we want to answer this question, we can in regards to who has the most eclectic music taste. I mean, is there anybody outside of you guys in the band?
Yeah, I feel like it's speak on Matt's, and I mean, if you want anything in there, Parrish is
our jazz dude.
If we speak on, so Parrish is our upright player. He's the oldest member of the band and the newest member of the band. We love Parrish, man. From the first time we jammed with him, it was just like it just happened. And he's a slap bass, like electric bass dude. Like blow your mind. You would ask him why he's playing with us if you heard him plug in and playing a slap bass, But there's a lot more to, we're all getting a lot of positive things from this band. So, but yeah, he's like punk, like Black Flag, Dead Kennedys, and like NoFX, like punk, not really pop punk, Casualties. And then he's also like, all of the slap bass aficionados, Victor Wooten,
Les Claypool.
Claypool, a lot of Primus. And then he listens to a lot of jazz stuff, but he's all over the place. He studied with Reggie Wooten, so Victor Wooten's brother.
Okay.
Studied theory with him for a while, so he got some cool tricks. If you see him pick around on pretty much any instrument, he can kind of apply like
that's awesome.
Certain slap bass techniques. So he's into all that. Matt is our fiddle player, and Matt is super into, or was whenever we first met, electronic music.
Really?
So I saw a video of Matt playing to dubstep, and he's like, there's all this crazy breakdowns, and I ran into him at a show, and he's like 18 at the time, I'm like 21, 22, and he grabs me, and he'd seen me play on my Facebook a video. He grabs me, he goes, "We got a jam," and he's like very, animated, and you'll meet him later, but I go, I'm trying to play bluegrass. He goes, I'll play whatever the hell you want. He did, and he does now, so he's amazing at what he does. But yeah, he was into Papadozio, so like kind of like live-tronica jam mixed with electronic aspects. So we're a melting pot, man. It's pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
But it all comes together in what we're doing. So, you can't really label it like a style of bluegrass, I don't think, because we don't know what we're doing. We're just doing what's naturally happening.
Making music.
So what was the first record you guys remember hearing, growing up that really like blew your mind and stuck with you?
Probably a Bon Jovi record, but I wouldn't know the name of it. One with "It's My Life" and like "It's My Life."
That full album, just like.
So I could, I had a lot of times with that, but like really affected me. "Insomniac" by Green Day.
Man, I would think 1984 Van Halen. I got that record. The first 3 records I got was AC/DC, Razor's Edge, that, and the very best of Kiss. But when I heard Van Halen, the intro to Jump, the classic song, Panama. I've been on my, rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen. I've been listening to Van Halen so much lately.
You come into our house, you'll hear Will at all hours of the day finger tapping on his guitar since the death of Eddie. He's in there tapping away. It's
I
pretty
cried
cool.
like a baby when Eddie Van Halen died.
Oh,
but the drums to Hot for Teacher, man, is that hit such a note with me as a kid. It sounds like a motorcycle in Idle.
Yeah.
But then it does have a beat. It's not just randomness, sounding like a motorcycle. There's a point to it. And just the creativeness of that band, from the guitar playing to the vocal melody to the drumming. And even Michael Anthony's, the bass player, his bass playing to his background vocals is phenomenal.
Yeah. So let's skip to your guys' new album.
Cool.
Came out, right before pandemic hit?
Right before we were
barely made it.
Yeah, man, we were rushing on it. It had been a long time coming. We were just kind of, we had a lot of original music, and we hit the ground running, and people are like, "Where's your album? Where's your album?" So we played for about a year without an album, and we had all these songs, and we do have so much more music now that we need to record. Like, catching up so we can release music that we don't play live is a hard thing right now. So we just need to start recording. But yeah, it's the first album I've ever been a part of. I wrote a lot. I had a lot of the songs previously. He has a tune on there. Our old banjo player has a tune on there.
The album's called Secret of the Breeze, by the way.
Yeah, Secret of the Breeze. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. I think it really came together nicely. I didn't really know, like I said a couple of times in this interview probably, we didn't really know what we were doing. It's kind of like, take the tunes, we're going to try to do our best at arranging them, and on the album provide somewhat of like a live feel, because that's what we had going for us. Like in the beginning, It was like, come see us play live because we'll jam and do things. So I think we captured that well.
We were blessed with the production for the record. We
Totally.
got to record at Southern Ground Studios, which was
that was my next question.
Zach Brown owns that, or now I don't think it is a studio anymore because of COVID, unfortunately. But our old banjo player was Dan Davis. He's worked on a lot of
real bluegrass records.
Yeah, like well-known professional musicians. He's worked on the records. He was an engineer at Southern Ground, so he got us in there, and we got a good deal on it, and great. Preston White was an engineer on it. Shout out Preston, he did a great job. But the facility,
it's fabulous.
We've had good responses from it, and it just kind of was a bummer because we had the album release, and then you hope to hit the road and go push it, and then everything goes. But it really has given us the comfortability to sit around and play music all day.
Yeah.
We wake up and we hit it. There is music happening in our house literally all day.
Yeah.
And that's how it has to be, though, because we want to make a living doing this. So whenever
we can't help it.
Yeah, totally. You got to do what you got to do, and it's in our blood. So.
And people are absorbing music more now because of all this, because they have the time.
Absolutely.
And the way that the guys in Krungbin, I was thinking about this too, that they described it was that now people are listening to that new album at home, and when they do have time and they can finally go out and play shows, the fans are familiar with the music, and they can get down to it in a different way. So it kind of goes the same way for you guys. They'll learn the lyrics, they'll know the songs going into the show. And
it just happened the other night, man. We played at this little private party out in the sticks, like an hour outside of Nashville. It was supposed to be like 6 people. They hired us, and ended up being like 15, 20 people. And I didn't know a lot of the people, but they knew all the words to our songs.
Really?
Yeah, we're playing Unplugged at this little shack. It's rain, and they got tarps put up, and like everybody's singing the words of the tunes. I'm like, we're gonna deliver this music to you guys right now, like because you're giving us that energy. I'm gonna give it back to you. So it's been cool.
That's awesome. It's great to hear.
Yeah.
So before we take a break and we answer some hypothetical questions on the second half of the show,
all right.
Is there anything else coming up for you guys? Do you have any other shows coming up?
Yes.
Are you doing anything while you're out of town?
We just got booked at the Station Inn, which is
absolutely. That's
really
huge.
big. It hasn't been announced yet, but like it's just it is the bluegrass joint of Nashville. They emailed us and want us to come out, so November 4th it hasn't been announced, but it will be soon. They're doing like 40 or 50 people in the venues, $15 a ticket, and then they sell like a live stream through their Station Inn TV, which they have a whole streaming service. Wow. Hopefully we'll do well, but we're really excited for it.
You guys will crush it.
I think we will too.
Thanks,
we'll see some of the older folks who tune into their live streams. Maybe we'll get some mixed reviews. I'm curious about it though. So
I don't know, man. I think it'll surprise some people.
Definitely.
I just think it's one of those genres that, like, if you go into it with good intentions and you are technically in tune, then people are going to enjoy you up and down.
Absolutely.
It's like jazz, you know what I mean? But, like, you can't say the same thing about hip hop, right? Like, there's old school hip hop heads, and like it just doesn't translate all the time.
Right.
Sure.
But like, to me, bluegrass, jazz, like
you can totally say the same for bluegrass, man. I will say there are people that have their mindset of bluegrass that is absolutely not what someone else's mindset of bluegrass. And we love the Station Inn, but
that's what Billy's like tearing down, you know. Billy's I can play every traditional song better than you've ever heard it, and I can also jam for 20 minutes on this tune and throw in all the effects pedals, and I'm gonna do both, and you're gonna like it. And everybody's like, okay, Billy. Like,
all right, well, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna go fill up our beers. We all need it, and we'll come right back.
Definitely.
All right, well, on that note, welcome back, everybody. We just got our beers filled up. A couple of Phish heads drinking Reba, so that's awesome.
Strawberry blonde ale is great.
So I am joined here again with Alex and Will of Sickard Hollow out of Nashville, Tennessee. They're a progressive bluegrass band. They're actually playing our stage tonight. So I know this isn't your first time playing a brewery. I talked to Tim kind of off stage. You know, you guys have played some other spots. What's your favorite brewery venues that you've gotten to play?
Sweetwater.
Sweetwater would be the first one. Yeah, man, they take care of us. They're great people there. Their tap room is awesome. Their little outside setup is great. We've had really good experiences with them. Their beer is really good too. So Sweetwater, thumbs up. You know, I think most people know about Sweetwater. It's great. So
long before even playing there, like that's my favorite
he was
beer.
drinking the 420 IPAs for a long, long time, and we've done. Big Beach Brewery. Y'all had a sticker for Big Beach over there. That's down in Gulf Shores. Yazoo in Nashville. It's a brewery that's decently well known in town. We've done From the Earth, which is right outside of Atlanta. That's a great one. We played we played there 2 or 3 times, and they always take care of us, and we love the staff there. It kind of has a jam band vibe too. We're not saying that y'all are completely jam band vibe, but there's a couple beers that reflect that. They have a lot of Widespread Panic beers and Grateful Dead beer, named wise. So that was cool. We have Steady Hand Brewery coming up October 24th, and that is actually speaking on upcoming gigs we're playing. That is an upcoming gig.
So if Sickard Hollow were to collab with your favorite brewery, I don't know if you guys can agree on what your favorite brewery is.
Maybe we can.
But
pretty much, yeah.
What style of beer would represent the band best, and what would the adjuncts be?
It'd be a sour.
So we were talking about this earlier. Our household goes for smoothie style sours, I'll say, but also cobbler sours.
Okay.
So Southern Grist does a cobbler series. We love it. They do a lot of different sours though. So that's what we drink at our house.
Is there an official beer of Sickard Hollow? What are you guys drinking if you're, what's at home? What's at the apartment that you guys share?
16-ounce Natty Lights.
Man.
I've actually brought 2 with me.
Well, I'll ask you this question then to build off that. So when you have the van up and running, what do you think the go-to album will be that you guys are going to throw on when no one can agree with the music? Should be
Raining Blood.
Yeah,
Slayer.
Down for that. Hell
Slayer,
super down for that.
Absolutely. Or something by the Wiggles, maybe.
Slayer or the Wiggles.
So you get to share your last beer ever with any musician, dead or alive. What's the beer and who are you sharing it with? Alex, we'll start with you.
One beer, it would be Jerry, and I would drink a Bud Heavy, a Budweiser with Jerry.
There you go.
Straight up and smoke. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but I would smoke an unfiltered cigarette with Jerry Garcia drinking a Bud Heavy. That is my answer.
Right on.
All right.
But if we're talking liquor, Pigpen, and me and Pigpen would sing blues and tear it up in a hotel room all night. And I'll leave it at that.
That's awesome. Will, what do you got, man?
Maybe David Lee Roth.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
What beer would you drink? It's your last beer.
Man.
Last 6-pack of something.
Last 6-pack. Maybe just 420, you know?
Okay.
I haven't bought a 6-pack in a long time, so probably just something like that.
So this is our last question. This is something that we always ask at the end of our interviews. This one's a little bit different. We're going to twist it just a little bit. If you could share the stage with any 2 acts, dead or alive, I'm going to let both of you answer this as well. 2 acts, dead or alive, who would you love to open for?
I mean, somebody in the bluegrass world would be cool. I think this would be really sick. Del McCurry Band Because like they're like Dell's band is like Dell's a legend, you know, in the bluegrass realm, and like the Traveling McCurries is just this Del McCurry band without Dell. Dell's like 80 years old, and he's still playing festivals and stuff. It's like traditional as hell, you know, and it's what they're doing. They shred, like they rip it. That would be cool just because he's like a bluegrass legend, still doing it, you know, and still really touring his music. So I think that would be super cool. And then obviously, like, you know, I think it'd be a cop-out to say the Grateful Dead or something like that.
It's not a cop-out, man. People answer with the Grateful Dead all the time.
You know, I'm like, obviously, like, I worship them. Phish, like, yeah, but like up and like the infamous string death.
Okay.
Because I think that would prove to us, like, we're just, I want to like get
make it in the current times.
Yeah. You know, like really, I'm waiting for that day to, you know, a big band that like we look up to is like, come support us, you know, and then it's kind of like that pat in the back, like you guys are going in the right direction. So,
man, I would say something classic rock. That'd be so cool. Fleetwood Mac. That'd be
One of my favorites. Top 5.
Nice. That's cool.
I don't even have one. Blink-182.
Nice.
Okay.
Love Blink-182. Yeah, we love pop punk.
Talk about a weird show, but I love it, man.
See, I've never seen him, and we've been talking about. Now, whenever the world opens back up again, I've said this many times, I'm spending my money on nostalgic bands live. I don't care who's in the band anymore. I'm going to get drunk and I'm going to see them.
Yeah. Well, that was awesome, guys. Really appreciate you sitting down with us.
Likewise.
Thanks for having us, man.
Absolutely.
Really do appreciate it.
Yep. So we'll have this out on YouTube and Facebook probably within a week.
Nice.
Throw in some footage from tonight's show. Everybody, check these guys out. Spotify, Apple Music, Sickert Hollow, Secret of the Breeze.
Secret of the Breeze, yeah. Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Follow us, keep up with us. Yeah, YouTube, Music City Podcast also. We got a podcast and we're doing plugs here. Check out the Music City Podcast. And we love you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
You don't have anything to
I'm
drink,
still gonna
but we're
do it.
classes.
There we go.
Cool.
Cheers.